Alright, this will be the seventh and final game of my coverage of the Ides' tournament in 2015. This game will be against my buddy Will, and we can see Will in the picture here on the right, and that's me on the left. Will's a guy that I have played 4 or 5 times in tournaments before. He's in a different town, but good friends with the guy, talk to him a lot on Facebook. And in this event, he has been undefeated. He's playing Veil 1 and Veil 2 Legion. And obviously I'm using Butcher for this matchup, and we'll just go to the photo here where we can see deployment. Scenario is Incursion. And just from the outset, I wanted to mention that because Will is undefeated and he's got the best strength of schedule, if I beat him, then I'll be on 6 wins, 1 loss, and so will he. So will probably 2 or 3 other people because the tournament's so big and we've only got 7 rounds. But there's actually no way that I can win the tournament just based on maths because of the format. So really I'm just trying to play for a spot in the podium, like second or third, which is a strange feeling. In previous years we've obviously had the different steamroller pack where the finals are locked and whoever managed to get into that final can progress. But the thing is, I wouldn't be playing him if that was the case. One of the other guys who also has just a single loss probably would have had to play him because there were a couple of people with the same score as me but better strength of schedule. So just moving past that, let's just go through to it. I've won the dice roll and opted for second turn. The reason for that is that I believe it'll come down to a scenario game. I wanted to be able to score first. And the thing about facing Legion, as I've mentioned in a previous battle report, is that if you just run straight forward first turn, they're just going to start shooting you earlier. So the second turn is definitely the better choice for Kador here. I'm going to look at the next picture where Will has, moved up during his first turn here. If you look at that hill in the middle of the table, obviously it's difficult to balance your miniatures on that hill, so that piece of wood, that circular piece of wood there, is a large base representation for his Ravagore, which is off to the side there next to his Deathclock. And we'll be seeing that little proxy base quite a few times this particular game. He's also chucked up a whole lot of leash and tenacity, as he'll be doing over the course of the game, and just waiting for me to move forward so he can blow me up. Into the next picture, you can see that he's included Black Frost Shard in his list. He's also got 3 Raptors. He's got a single Ravagore. In terms of me trying to beat Legion with my particular Butcher 3 list, my brand of that list, I think this is a much easier list for me to go up against compared to the list that I faced previously in the tournament, which had the 5 Warbeasts and 2 Strider Deathstalkers. Will had that opinion as well, but the reason he's taken the Raptors is that they're useful against a variety of other things, including, say, Scorn, Fist of Halark, and he's made an all-rounder list which isn't just focused on trying to beat Butcher. He's trying to beat a range of different options, so it's not as though he sort of single-mindedly had Butcher 3 as his opponent. Into the next picture, I've taken my first turn and been fairly cautious with the pikemen here. The idea is really just to move some of them forward, giving him some targets to shoot, meaning that he can't sort of run forward and sort of get a better position next to the flags, but I'm not going to lose all of my pikemen in one round. My plan here really is to try and score off the right hand side with Butcher and continue to contest each turn with a pikeman and hopefully win on a scoring game, looking for opportunities all the while, of course, to move in and take out some of his beasts with the feed turn. So we'll see how that goes. Next picture again, Legion turn 2. We've got the Seraph and Ravagore having moved up and shot quite a lot of pikemen. Same with Typhon there. I don't think he needs to even use the feed at this point. I can't remember at which point he used the feed, but we'll discuss that later. And the Raptors have actually changed side in the battlefield. He started deploying them on his left, and then he moved them around. He did take first turn, so I could sort of deploy appropriately. And Raptors being so mobile, it wasn't difficult for him to do that. Take a look at the big obstacle at the top left. It looks like a big shipping container. That's actually hiding Saxon and Iris behind it, which I was quite grateful for because it means they can actually just run around and contest later in the game, so that'll be really useful. Having a look at the death clock tree, this photo actually shows the death clock, and I'm already up on time. One of the things about tournaments is that I generally play my turns quite quickly, which is a big advantage. I think that really helps me in the tournaments because I'm always up on time, and I think that's a good tip for people who are trying to sort of improve their game in tournaments and do better, is just if you can practice a lot and when you're playing, really recommend looking for a solid option as opposed to spending a lot of time looking for the perfect option. If you take, 20 seconds to look at the board and sort of work out what a really good solid play is, that's better than taking 3 or 4 minutes just to sort of perfect the turn. Because if you're constantly doing that, you just put yourself under a lot of pressure in the late game, and you can lose a lot of games due to the clock, not by just clocking out, but by having to make really bad quality decisions later on as the pressure really hits you. Let's just move into the next picture though. We've got my follow-up turn here where I've managed to charge in with a Great Bears in the center and actually do a fair bit of damage to that Seraph. I've also killed, I think, 1 or 2 members of the Black Frost Shard. I actually think it was just 1 member. And on the left here, I've got the zone here with my Iron Fang Kovnik. One thing that the picture does not show is that I managed to move around with Iris and Saxon and actually shoot one of the raptors, and it was the only model he had contesting the flag. He actually made a little bit of a mistake there, not moving more than one model to contest it, so that allowed me to run with the Kovnik and score on that turn 2, I think it was. And if you look at the top right of the photo, I've got my Widowmakers on the opposite flag on the other side of the table, so that puts me up by 2 points, when really I should only be up by 1 point. So that gave me a bit of an advantage and a little bit of a mistake from him, but I was lucky to kill that raptor. I mean, I actually had to roll slightly above average to get those shots off with Iris and Saxon and get the damage rolls I needed to kill it. Apart from that though, moving the Devastator within range of the middle flag to prevent him from scoring next turn, and Butcher's just staying safe back there behind a wall. So clicking to the next picture here, you can see what it looks like on the other side. Really, he's just kept to that other side of the battlefield and clumped up his beasts, and basically letting me have the scoring over here on the right. He's running over there with a single model each turn to contest, but I'm able to score fairly freely in my turns, so hopefully I can get to 5 before he does. Next image here, quite an important play. What he decides to do is line up the the slam with the Scythian, which knocks back the Devastator, a move that I hadn't anticipated. It's a pretty obvious move, but for some reason I didn't think of it at the time. And of course, this is a Veil feat turn, so he's able to move back the Scythian to allow him to do it again if he wants to. So what this allows him to do is actually move up to 2 points himself, so it'll actually tie the scoring. So at the end of his turn, the control point score will be 2 each. He's doing even more shooting this turn, obviously, with the Raptors and the Beast still there, and killing most of the remaining Iron Fang pikemen, but the feat does allow him to move back. We talked about this after the game, and Will suggested that I should have really put Butcher up further forward to block the slam. I think if I'd done that, Butcher would have been a bit more vulnerable, and he might have been able to get 2 beasts into Butcher plus a lot of shooting. But thinking about it, really, if I'd had a chance to play this again, what I just would have done is I would have maybe blocked off the slam path with a couple of War Argus, because if he slams and accidentally kills one of the Argus, then I think that means I get Vengeance. Actually, no, it would be collateral damage, so I'm not sure if it would trigger Vengeance, but still, the Argus might have been enough to prevent the slam from pushing it too far. Anyway, too late now. Game's been played, and he did manage to score twice. Clicking over to the next picture, you can see where we've ended up. He's got Typhon around here, and I think this picture's taken before the feat is active. In fact, I'm sure of it. You can see at the top left of the photo he's run around with that shredder to contest my flag. So it does mean I get to take out a shredder, so he's going to be playing the rest of the game without tenacity, which is a small deal. It's not insignificant, but he should be able to manage. No tenacity does make it a little bit easier for me to kill the Warbeast when I go in there with Butcher, so maybe less focus needs to be expended. Clicking over to the next image, I think you can see here the final position After Vale's feat, the Shredder has now engaged the Widowmakers, so it's a little bit harder for me to kill it. I've got to get in there with something in combat, I think, as opposed to shooting, or just move the Widowmakers away and take the free strikes. He's got the Raptors on the left-hand flag, and the middle flag is being contested by a couple of Warbeasts, and the Black Frost Shard are capturing it at the moment. So things looking good for him. He did roll quite high on the slam for the Devastator. As you can see, it's all the way back here. So Butcher's going to have to allocate it 2 focus, one for standing up and another one for running, to getting back into contest range. Unless he uses Energizer, but I'm not sure if I want to. Clicking to the next image after this, I've made a follow-up turn here, which has allowed me to score again at the top right, having killed the Shredder with Iron on Hold. And I've managed to move in here with the Pikemen and kill another Black Frost Shard member. The Seraph to the left has actually taken a hit with the Pikemen, and I think the Scythian has as well. The difficult thing for me here is that Vale is in a great position, and if I move anything within 5 of her, Dark Sentinel goes off and he moves something to contest the flag, so it's pretty much impossible for me to score off the center flag. The flag on the left, also very hard for me to score from, because Typhon is contesting it, and there's nothing really in range that can get to Typhon. Even, I mean, one pikeman going in there is not going to do anything, because Typhon's going to really require quite a lot more than that to kill. So, well played here by Legion. I'm on 3 control points now, so what that means is that if I can find a way to score on the right, which is quite easy, but then score in the middle, maybe from Butcher moving in and doing some drags and killing him, that could give me the game in the following turn. And he is only on 2 points, so for him to score, sorry, no, he's on 4 points, I believe. So yes, he can win the following turn, and I think this is what it came down to. In fact, I'm going to go to the next image. At the end of my turn here, basically, I've moved in and contested with the Pikeman and the Devastator. So yeah, he is on 2 points. He can get to 4 points by clearing the middle flag and taking the left, and that makes it a little bit harder for me to win, but we'll see what that comes down to. Again, you can see the proxy base on the left with Typhon there, and we're just measuring the distance to the flag in the center. Just going to skip past this one and look at where we're at. This is where we're at here. Ravagore has moved in. I think this is yeah, Ravagore's moved in to, I think, kill something there, and the Scythian is further back. Oh yeah, he's contested the flag with his Forsaken at the top right. So that's his follow-up turn, and able to score on the left hand side. I might have to just click onto the next photo for this. Oh yeah, here we go. So this is the turn where I thought maybe I could win it. I was on 3 control points here, and Butcher decides to move in, uses Impending Doom, drags the Scythian and Ravagore, and spends a whole bunch of focus to kill them. He feats as well. You can see the position of Vale in the top left though. If I move anything closer to Vale, what happens is the Seraph then uses Dark Sentinel to move around and contests the zone, or Typhon does. And that also allows Typhon to get into charge range of Butcher quite easily. Not that it would be difficult, I mean he can always slipstream and leash and get there anyway, but with Butcher camping, I think 2 or 3 focus at the end of that, and Typhon going in and combat at power 17, it is possible for him to get 20 boxes. It's also possible to mess that up, but in the previous turn I think my opponent was on, I think it was 4 control points, so all he really has to do is score from the other flag on the other side of the table, and that's something I kind of messed up a little bit. I think what I could have done is given the Devastator 2 focus that turn and moved in to kill his Warbeasts with Butcher. I'd have had less focus after the feat was used and everything, but even if Butcher was camping armor 20, I could have contested the middle zone with the middle flag, sorry, with the Devastator, and that would have meant that he'd have had to actually get rid of the Devastator to score, which he wouldn't have been able to do. So it would have really left him with only one option, that was killing Butcher, and he would have had to go for the dice rolls, which would have been better for me. As it happens, if you go to the next picture, what he has to do here is really just to send the Seraph over to the right hand side to contest that flag on the right, and kill everything on the left with Typhon. That proxy base that you see next to the Seraph is Typhon. He's just removed it because the model doesn't fit underneath that that wing abundance, as you can see. So quite a difficult and close game. Some subtle mistakes made on both sides. My opponent here has played slightly better than I have, and again we talked about it. And if I'd found a way to stop the Devastator from being slammed back or kept Butcher a little bit further forward, I could have done it. There was also an opportunity at one point for me to actually go through and kill Vale, but again, he would have been able to block with beasts. I would have had to probably impending doom twice at the end of it, and it would have been really sketchy. So, I tried to go for a different angle, and that hasn't happened. Clicking to the next picture, you can see here that the Seraph has enough movement just to simply run at speed 7, I believe, all the way over here to contest the flag, so that's not happening. I haven't got any models on them in the middle, so unfortunately he doesn't have to contest the middle flag, and that's what I was talking about before. Even if I have the Devastator running onto the flag, it wouldn't have scored in my turn, but it would have meant that he'd have had to contest it with something, and he only has like 4 models left plus his Warcaster, so I don't think that would have been possible. And then if you go to the last image of the game, all he has to do really is move Vale over Cast and Sight, and Typhon has to kill 3 models. There's the remaining pikeman, which the Raptor failed to kill, unfortunately, and he has to roll high enough in his dice to kill Saxon and Iris. But with Typhon spraying and having 3 shots at it within sight, just has to boost and not roll really low, and he fluffed one of them, but he managed to get Iris in the end, so that meant that he managed to score get to 5 control points before I did and won, and congratulations to him going 7-0 in the tournament. This game could have gone differently. I just want to point out that if I hadn't rolled the dice, if I hadn't won the dice roll for picking first turn or the sides, my opponent might have chosen to go second, which would have made it even harder for me. There was also a situation earlier on where I got the scoring lead when I shouldn't have. He actually left the model out of range of the flag, so that's something he could have done differently. But I should also say, if the scenario had been a different one where it would have been just a central zone, that probably would have worked in my favour, because in the long-term attrition game, Butcher's really going to be better at it against the specific Legion list. But we can also say that he could have chosen a different list as well. So in wargaming, there are a lot of variations, but in this game, we had to play the best with what we had, and I got outplayed slightly, and I really enjoyed it though. It was a good technical game and probably one of the better ones of this tournament. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully have some more War Machine Hordes later next month. In the meantime, catch you later.